Andrea Louis, Bachelor Man by Winston Cam, Factory Girls by Leslie T. Chang, Arrhythmia by Natalie Lim. When I was 10, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I mean, I wanted to be independent. I asked my mom what she thought I was going to be when I grew up, and she told me, "Oh, you'll grow up to do amazing things. But most Chinese girls after university come back to their hometown, marry a man, settle into a family, and stay at home." She's gotten a lot more progressive since then. I'm Andrea, and this is how Chinese culture affects my life. And well, I don't know a lot of it, but that perhaps could be a good thing, as a lot of historical Chinese culture would have been against who I am, a woman. Bachelor Man by Winston Cam. I ran. I walked. I hobbled all the way to the big city. Life will be better there. I would find women sisters, and we'll all comfort one another. I'll lose myself in the big city. There, around me, thousands were like me. That made me happy. Isn't that strange? That it would make me happy. But it was nice to know that others shared my burden. Some of us became friends. We survived as best as we could in the gutters of Canton. Our wits kept us alive. And our laughter gave us strength. Oh, we'd laugh at everything. I mean, when the men taunted us and called us loose women, we laughed in their faces. How loose can a woman be with bound feet? That shut them up. They didn't know what to say. They never do. And so they called us crazy. Sometimes at night, we'd gather around and talk. Small talk, woman talk. And we'd always talk about men and how strange they are. And then we'd laugh at their strangeness. Sometimes we even dared to dream. And then we'd laugh at the conceit of those dreams, and then we'd all stare at one another, fall silent, each knowing what the other was thinking, but afraid to ask. That's why I think I wish I knew Madame Wu, because we could have laughed together. And maybe she would be alive. Sometimes even I wonder if it's true. Even as I sweep this floor on the Gold Mountain, I wonder. In the mornings, I wonder. At night, I wonder. You can never be so sure because it's so confusing. And it's hard to think because your mind is not made to think, because you're a woman. You're born numb, you're kept numb, you're aware yet you're not aware. Things happen and you don't know what they are. You remember and don't remember. You can't make head or tail of what's going on. Your mind has shut down. Maybe it never worked, and your thoughts, they're all over the place. There's nothing to bring them together because everyone wants a piece of you. You're like a bedpan for all the filth in the world. I'm just babbling? Tell that to Madame Wu. I know about all the lies. It's for your own good, they said. They lied. You'll move up in the world, they said. They lied. Lie followed lie to excuse a wrong. Lies became so commonplace, common sense was not so common anymore. That's what happened to us. Why else would women be a part of this? It was the woman, my own mother, my aunts, the village woman who held me down as they bound my feet. How could they? Why aren't they women like me? Couldn't they see it was wrong? Couldn't my screams jar their minds and tell them it was wrong? Why couldn't they see it? Instead, they lied. What can you say when the victims take part in the crime? I didn't understand these things, so I blamed myself. I was at fault. I had done something evil. I was paying for a wicked past life. And I wanted to die. If you're a woman, you can experience harassment in the most basic of situations in modern China, especially in the train station in Guangzhou, where I was in one of those situations myself. The only way I got out of that sticky situation is by buying a ticket to the next train. And that's only because I had the money to afford it. Factory Girls by Leslie T. Chang. The bus stopped. All passengers for Hojie, get off here! The ticket seller was a skinny Cantonese man who yelled everything in a nasal voice. He walked down the aisle, pointing at certain people and ordering them off. He pointed at me. A passenger ahead of me got off the bus and disappeared into the night. I got to the front of the bus and leaned out from the bottom step. We were on a pitch black highway beside a deserted construction site. There are no taxis here, I said to the ticket seller. There are taxis, he yelled in snarling Cantonese. I'm not getting off. He came up behind me and put his hand on my shoulder. Don't touch me! I climbed back up the stairs and sat in a front row seat. None of the other passengers had budged. Okay, everyone, off! The ticket seller walked up and down the aisle, giving 2 yuan to each person. I paid 25 yuan to get to Dongguan. I want my money back. He turned around to face me. Of course, he was taller than I was, and he was a man. At that moment, I realized how truly powerless I was. If you paid 100, should I give you 100? He yelled. If I take my pants off, will you give me 100? It didn't make sense and it wasn't funny, but he liked the sound of it and he said it again. If I take my pants off, will you give me 100? Screw you, I said in English. That broke my cardinal rule about living in China. Never play the American card, but sometimes only cursing in English will do. The man looked at me with newfound respect. I walked past him to the front of the bus and looked for something to throw. I wanted to grab his money belt, but of course he kept that close to him. I saw a dirty towel on the dashboard and I flung it in the driver's face. Then I ran off the bus and ran. My heart was pounding. I thought he was going to chase after me. And then I stopped running and realized how stupid I must have looked. On a side street, I saw a taxi and asked how much to Dongguan. 80 yuan, $10. I got on. I was so mad. I was shaking. I thought of all of the young women I knew who lived here, and how every single one of them had been cheated, abused, and yelled at someone just like the skinny Cantonese man who probably woke up already angry at the world. There was no recourse but tears and fury at your own impotence. In a confrontation, everything boiled down instantly to brute force, and a woman would always lose. I had money, and with money, I could buy my way to comfort and safety. They didn't have that. Just because I might be a little confused with my own Chinese heritage does not mean I can't at least try to learn and embrace it. This poem is dedicated to my popo, my grandmother, who has instilled in me the Chinese heritage since day one. Arrhythmia by Natalie Lim. In 1962, my grandparents left China. They stood together on the bow of a ship and watched the only shores they'd ever known melt into darkness, owning nothing but each other and the clothes on their backs. No, I'm sorry. The story's a lie. I mean, at least it might be. I mean, I've never asked how they got here, or what it was like in those early days raising 3 boys and a girl in a shoebox house in a broken glass city in a country whose valleys were still haunted by the driving of railway spikes. 1, 2. 1, 2. For miles on end. When I started school, I stopped speaking Chinese. I mean, I still know a little these days, can manage phrases like 多谢, thank you, and I'm full, 火爆, that fall from my mouth and shatter on the dinner table while everyone pretends not to notice. I smile as I pick the shards out of my food, hide them under a napkin, breathe a sigh of relief when the waiter takes my shame away. Sometimes I wonder if my children will do the same. I wonder if my popo feels each stilted conversation like a brick through a Chinatown window. Like a slur hurled from a moving car, like 1, 2, 1, 2, for years, for a lifetime. Maybe I miss hearing her call me by my Chinese name. Natalie, she says, each syllable so carefully deliberate as she passes me dishes piled high with chow mein, hand-stuffed dumplings, the best of intentions. And I smile like always, shake my head, thank you. I'm full. Here is a true story. I was born in 1996 in a mid-sized house in a mid-sized city in a country that proclaims diversity, acceptance. Yes, I am from here. Yes, I mean here. I mean, how do you grieve something you never really loved to begin with? I mean, my grandmother calls me Natalie now. I mean, I've stopped speaking Chinese when I started school, so all I know about China is my popo's hands, the distant echo of her pulse. 1, 2, like shattering, rebuilding, like turning foreign soil into survival, into homemade apple turnovers and summer afternoons in the back garden. Because of you, popo, I have never gone hungry. Thank you for what you have given. Look at all you have made. 火爆, popo, 火爆, 多谢.